Everyone, I'm Linda Reed-Enever and welcome to another Business Skills webinar. I'm excited to welcome back one of our first ever skills webinar guests. When I think we're about a year ago, 2 years ago that we started this, Ben.
I think so.
Ben from Missinglettr. Ben is here today to show us how we can maximize our blogging efforts. Now, all of you know I love my business tools, and Ben developed Missinglettr, which is one of my most favorite time-saving tools in the way of blogging and copywriting. And you know I'm a Nazi on making sure that things are all the way that I want them to be. And Ben is here today to talk about how we can save time within our business and how we can maximize the effort that we're putting into our blog posts. So welcome, Ben.
Hey, great to be here. Has it really been that long? Wow.
I think it has.
A year ago or so. Wow.
Yeah. It's a little scary. You know how long
it is. I had just as much hair back then as I do now.
Oh, I think I have more.
That's a good thing, actually. I'm not losing more than I do from other places. There we go.
Ah, beautiful. Okay, I'm going to let you do your introduction and tell people what we're going to get into today, because it is 11 o'clock in the UK at night, so we will let him get to bed eventually.
Perfect. Well, cool. Linda, thank you. It's always a pleasure to join you on these calls. So we're going to have a bit of a walkthrough. We're going to have three sort of sections to this. We'll do some slides and just talk about some of the things you might want to be thinking about when it comes to blogging and how you market your blogs and promote them, and really just get that all important traffic and traction and engagement for the blog posts that you publish, so they don't just get published and just sort of disappear into the ether and do nothing much.
No.
So we'll start off with that, and we'll go through some of the key things you might want to do and some of the things you might want to avoid. And we'll then go through a bit of a quick fire sort of demo. I'll sort of walk you through a live step-by-step sort of walkthrough of one of the sections of the Missinglettr site. It's a big system, so I'm just going to focus in on one key part of it, just so you know a bit more about what it looks like and what it means, so that if you give it a go yourself, you're not completely lost and you feel that you can hit the ground running, which is always really powerful, I think, when you're listening.
And there's been so many features brought into Missinglettr since we started this, guys. It is awesome for you to be able to see. Now I'm going to put Ben on the spot here. When do we get Google Business?
Google Business. I need to double check with my team. I know it's in the list. It's been in there for a while. I know that. Well, I'll tell you what. With Google Plus being made redundant fairly soon, maybe we'll just take that as an opportunity to swap out one.
That's
Google
what I'm hoping. Yeah, that would be awesome. If we can do that, that would be lovely. Because, that's where, especially for us, Clive and I've got valuable content to share to our Google My Business page, which would be great now that Google Plus is disappearing, and keep the Google gods happy.
Yeah, well, it'd be nice to keep their brand and their logo on our roster. So yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool. So yes, there are lots of features.
Sorry, putting you under the spot.
No, that's cool. No commitments. Hopefully you heard that, but we will.
Now, guys, the reason that Ben and I are not going to share too many links with you about Missinglettr today and promotion-wise about Missinglettr is Black Friday deals are coming. And Ben has an awesome Black Friday deal, and in the meantime his pricing pages are changing over today as well. So as much as I would love to share you a very, very special offer today, wait until tomorrow, and tomorrow I will email it out, and I'll hold on putting the replay up until tomorrow as well, and I'll come back on the live stream and pop the link in for the offer there. It'll be in our Black Friday threads, but yes, today we're not going to even talk about promotions and links for you to sign up, because the Black Friday deals are going to be so huge, and I want to share those with you at that point in time. So that's going to get that elephant out of the room as to why we're not sharing stuff all the time today. But Ben, let's get into it. Let's talk about how we can maximize our blogging efforts.
Okay, let me share the old screeny.
And I'll watch chat.
Cool, yeah, if you can, that'd be fantastic. Okay, cool. So, try and keep this down to sort of 15, 20 minutes, but feel free to speed me up, Linda, if you feel the need to. But look, we're all here, obviously, because we want to drive traffic. Because, as I mentioned before, it's one thing to publish a blog post, and hopefully a well thought out blog post, but it's another thing to get the traffic over to our site so that we can start conducting our business, building our brand, our list, or whatever it is we're looking to do. And for the majority of businesses out there that are blogging, content marketing is typically the go-to strategy that they're using these days. And we're going to look into some of the reasons why that is so important. And it's really because, for a simple reason, it is the most cost-effective and time-effective marketing tool that we can use these days. So just before we go any further, if you're not already using content marketing, which basically is blogging to the majority of people, But it can extend to sort of vlogging and ebooks and other sort of content-based marketing. If you're not doing an element of that as part of your wider marketing strategy, then definitely start implementing that. It sounds obvious that, you know, if you're here listening to this, you're probably already blogging, but you know, it always surprises me how frequent people actually haven't really started that trend yet.
One of the things I say to people in my courses that if you're blogging and you're not sure what to blog on, get a notepad and paper down and write down the frequently asked questions that you have, the questions that keep getting asked to you that week, and they are your first set of blog topics, because if your clients are asking it, people are going to be searching for it online, and what better content can you give them but answers to the questions that they have?
Cool. And I'm guessing the answer for those who are on this particular call, I'm guessing pretty much all of you already are blogging to some extent, but just to keep it interactive, let Linda and myself know in the chat, just a yes or a no, whether you are already officially blogging, if you will, as part of your business, your setup, whatever that might be. Be interesting to know. And as I mentioned, it's such a pervasive, such a cost-effective tool, and that shouldn't therefore surprise us that 91% of businesses out there are using blogging as part of their marketing strategy, which is crazy. That's basically every business out there is using it. And it goes to show how accessible, how effective, and how useful it is as a tool. But interestingly, in a recent survey, 70% of that same cohort, that same 91% cohort, actually said that they weren't massively impressed with the results. The words they used were minimally or moderately successful in terms of how they felt their blogging, how their blogging efforts were, which is really interesting. And it goes to show that in a world where we are now, where blogging is so pervasive, where as the stat shows there, almost every business is doing it, it's actually no longer good enough to simply think that you can write something, publish it, and that will be sufficient. It's actually such a crowded space. There's so much content out there. You only have to look at your Facebook feeds and Twitter feeds and everything else to understand
the BBP group on a regular basis.
Everything, yeah. I mean, it's crazy, and that's great. That's where we are as an age, that everything is so accessible. But that means, as businesses, we actually have to do that little bit extra to get our voice heard and get it out there, and that's super important. And one of the really great ways of, or one of the tools that you know, content marketers have at their disposal is this notion of their blog content being evergreen. So evergreen basically just means that if someone were to read it, say in a year's time, it would be just as relevant pretty much as it is today at the point at which you published it. And there's no hard and fast rule here. It doesn't have to stand the test of time for 10 years or so, but you know, reasonable amount of time, maybe a year or so, it should be relevant versus, say, an opinion piece or something that's a bit more of its time. So this is a really powerful tool for us bloggers to be using. Writing something that is going to be marketable, think of it in that sense, next month, next year, because that then unlocks a whole treasure trove of options. It essentially means that we can do that promotion into the future. And that's really, really powerful. So it's so important to be thinking about the type of content that you're writing before you start writing it, and get a healthy mix.
Now, Ben, on Facebook Live, Katrina's just said she's really on and off with the blogging. It's on her to-do list, a must-do list, but it gets pushed to the bottom of the to-do list. So I just thought that's actually a really good point. It happens to all of us in business. You know, we all get to that point where blogging, or we're working in the business. My tip for that one, and I think you'd agree with this one too, guys, for those of you who are there, is use your downtime, use the Christmas times and the breaks and the times that you've got to actually draft content. Because remember, most blogging platforms now allow you, and we're talking about evergreen content, allow you to schedule that content out. Just because you've written it doesn't mean it needs to be published right now. I'm currently writing posts for you and Camille for the next 3 months because I know that I'm going to be crazy to meet my article deadlines for you guys. So I'm like, well, if I write them now, they've got them when they need them.
I totally echo that. And actually, what I also say to people is don't beat yourself up. Don't tell yourself that I have to be publishing one a week, or I have to be robotic in every month, every week, every quarter, whatever that routine might be. Actually, it'd be far better to write the completely occasional blog post that was high quality, totally targeted to your audience, really well thought out, versus being dogged, you know, that dogma of sort of having to do one every other day or something else that really for the majority is going to be unachievable. So better to have that simple goal rather than, you know, be too tough on yourself. So yeah, get started, do it in draft mode, but don't worry about the second one. Just write the first one, and whenever that's ready, that's ready.
And the next one and the next one follows from that, guys. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So evergreen, really important, but as with everything, it's what you do after the initial bit of work, in this case, the publishing or the writing, that really matters. And that's not to say that writing isn't important. It's if you're putting a stupid question in, you're going to get a stupid answer out. So you want to make sure that you're writing great content to start with. Let's just take that as a given. I'm sure we all want to be writing great content that's relevant, that's well thought out, all that sort of stuff. Assuming we're doing that, it's the next step, how we publish that, how we promote it, sorry.
Now, there might be a few of our members here, Ben, that maybe don't know what evergreen content actually is. The way I figure to explain that to people is think of the evergreen trees. So think of the trees that are out there that are always green. So it's always content that can be recalled back onto it. So it's content that doesn't date or can be recycled year on year.
Yes, exactly. Good point. So we're writing evergreen content. Therefore, what's the basic high-level goals that we're looking to achieve here? And what I'd like to do is break this down into just 3 or 4 basic steps, little things that you want to make sure that you're doing each time you're publishing a blog post. So first of all, as I mentioned in the previous slide there, we want to make sure we're writing really, really great, captivating, well thought out evergreen blog posts. So keywords there, great, yes, hopefully you're writing great content. Evergreen, tick, make sure it's as you say, timeless, not going to date too often, and we want to be doing that, so that's really important. And then once we've published that, really on a basic level, we want to, because it's evergreen, we want to remember that it's not really going to be good enough just to promote it across your social channels on the day that you published it, or even a few days afterwards. You want to be thinking a bit longer term. So 12 months into the future, you want to be still promoting it. So that doesn't mean you're sending a tweet every single day, but it does mean that you've got a bit of a schedule there. So you might want to maybe break it down into, one a month or one every couple of weeks or something along those lines. With Missinglettr, because we can help you with these areas, we generally balance and end up, by default with about 9 posts throughout that year. But you might want to find the balance that works best for you. So you've published that blog post, you now want to create some optimized social content for the next 12 months. So you might, crop an image, you might create a quote little bubble for yourself, you might reword the title and maybe take a quote out. So you're basically creating 9 or so tweets or Facebook posts that you think will work quite well to represent your blog post in a way that will engage with your audience, etc., etc. And then we want to gradually drip it out. And this is the key bit. So once you've created your collection of 9 or so tweets and Facebook posts, don't just put it into buffer and let it go out over the next 24 hours. Because that's wasting the opportunity that you have with it being an evergreen piece of content. Properly schedule it in with a tool like Missinglettr. There are other tools as well that you can use, should you want to just schedule it out over a longer period of time. And you can, if you want to be completely old school, just schedule it in a spreadsheet. Just come up with a basic format where you say, month 1, this is what I'm going to send. Month 2, I'll send this, and so on and so forth. And then crucially, as with any marketing activity, it's great if you crack it and do it once and execute, but really the power of getting that snowball effect and really seeing the returns is doing it on a consistent basis. So rinse and repeat. So you make sure you do this for every blog post you do. That's key.
Really?
It does sound obvious, right? But it is.
It is something.
The amount of times I forget to do things the second time, you have to think, remind, and it's a habit. So get that baked in. Sorry, Linda, you sound like you're going to say something.
No. Well, the other thing that I was going to say, guys, is it's really easy to forget to promote. It's very, very, very easy for us to forget to promote. And look, Ben and I have been in this game for I'm not saying how many years. I've given up saying how many years. A long time. And we know that the thing that makes this work for us is checklists. Checklists make it work. And, I still use checklists today inside every course that we create, every blog post that we create, everything that we do. They're digitalized now. They're in Trello. They're in things that help us be able to do things. But those checklists are really, really important for you to go through. So don't ignore those processes.
Totally, yeah. I mean, and that just plays to the consistency, whether it's a checklist, whether it's reminders, whatever it might be. But yeah,
whether it's nags.
Whatever is needed to get that consistency in. Yeah. And this idea of dripping it out over that slightly longer period of time, in our example, that 12-month period, it's really key for three important reasons. Number one, there are people who will be following you tomorrow and hopefully the next day after that and beyond that didn't know that you published something today. So if you just tweet it or Facebook post it today, then that person that follows you tomorrow is never going to see that post. So by dripping it out over the longer term, you increase the chances that you will get it in front of your new followers. And that's really, really key. Again, assuming you're writing great content, of course, you want to get it in front of those, as many people as possible. Yeah. It's also your existing followers. Point number two here. We all have busy lives. We have the algorithms, the lovely algorithms in Facebook and Twitter trying to control our feeds. And that combined with our busy lives means that, we don't always see everything that is put in front of us. We just miss it, whether it's for our own busyness reasons or, as I say, the algorithms.
And no one's going to see everything in the newsfeed ever. It's
just impossible. We spoke before about how much content there is out there. It just all stacks up to this fact that there's only a certain percentage of the content that we, in theory, flick through that we will actually take stock of and absorb in that sense. So by dripping your promotion out over the longer term, again, by definition, you are increasing the chances that your existing followers are going to see that. And then there's also this idea, this little principle of, you really want to catch whatever that selling is, whatever you're trying to do, whatever message you're trying to get out in the world, the basic principle is that you want to get it in front of the right people at the right time meaning when they're ready to buy or when they're, in the mindset to be thinking about or considering the topic that you are talking about. So there's the classic example would be, trying to sell a car to someone who's just bought a car. They're not going to be in the market for buying a car.
They're not buying a car right now. Guys, the thing that I think I can most probably relate to this, one of my top performing blog posts is things about, not triggering the spam algorithms on Facebook. It's a video blog. It's one of the top performing blog posts. Now the video is itself 18 months old now, but it still gets comments on YouTube every month. And the blog still gets comments regularly, and it's getting, I'm talking about 30 plus visits a week on an 18-month-old blog post. So not everyone was ready for it. They're not ready for it until it happens to them sometimes.
Yeah, great example. And just, combine the great content with getting out there in a meaningful way. And
exactly.
You'll find people at the right time.
No one wants to blog until they're ready to blog. No one wants no one wants a business coach until they need a business coach. And the same with marketing. No one wants a marketing coach. So it's about making sure that your content is consistently being found.
Totally. And while we're doing that, or if we're doing that, and hopefully after this you will be if you weren't already, let's just remember a few key principles here that we want to follow. So for one, we want to make sure that the content that we are both creating in terms of the blog post, but also the social content that we're creating to promote it, is relevant and meaningful. So, be honest, be natural. Don't create spammy, content. So what we don't want to do is the opposite of this, where you might take your title of your blog post and literally just repeat that same tweet every single day. You can't actually do that much today anyway. Exactly. You can't much today anyway because of that rule. But that would be an example of something you definitely don't want to do. So you want to think about the content and just take the time, to make sure that it's right, especially with tools like Missinglettr and, or if you do it manually. Once you've put that thought into making sure that the combination and the flow of the content is right, it's locked in, and, you can be confident that the next 12 months is all booked in. And we're doing this because we want to build trust. We don't want to have it, eroded simply through some marketing activity that we're doing. You've got to remember that you're writing your blog post to enhance your brand, hopefully, if you're doing it in the right way. And therefore, it goes to show that anything we do to promote it should also be a representation of your brand, and it should be powerful. It should be on brand. It should have the same stylistic quality, both in terms of color scheme and everything else, but also the style of writing, the quality that you put through. It should feel joined up. People should consume or come across your social posts that are promoting your blog posts, or any of your social posts for that matter, and they should feel a bit of a synergy with your brand somehow. It might be an obvious one, like it's the same font, or if it's a graphic you're creating, or the same color scheme, or as I say, the same writing style or something. But there should be some thread that joins it together. And again, Missinglettr can help you with that. But think about that. It might be an obvious thing. It might be a less obvious thing. But anything you can do there to just bridge that gap is really going to help you for sure.
And now with Missinglettr, guys, you can also, for those of you who've been in here before and seen the webinars, you can upload your own images as well, which is really, really cool.
Yes.
I know. I love that feature.
And we create, actually, just on that topic, we create quote style speech bubbles for you. So these dynamic, automatically generated graphics for you using your extracts with your brand color on there, your logo, or your avatar, whatever it might be. And I'll show you that in the demo as well. We'll give you a quick glimpse of that. So for sure. And then most importantly, as we mentioned right at the beginning, consistency is key, but not too frequently. So it's about balance with everything. And the one way of framing this in terms of how often, or what is that frequency? What should it be? The answer is always, it depends. So take it with a pinch of salt. With Missinglettr, for example, we will create by default campaigns that will last for 12 months that will be made up of 9 posts. But you might find that for your audience, your industry, you want slightly more, slightly less. So don't, you will know your industry and your business.
And for those of us who run comps like Family Capers does, we've got 2 weeks or a month to promote something, and there's good functionality within Missinglettr now for us to be able to do that. Thank you, Ben, for answering that one for me. By the way, I asked you heaps of features. I asked for cutoff dates. I asked for shorter campaigns. Guys, I keep saying to you, do not be afraid to ask your service providers for features that you need, because you never know, it could be features that other people need, rather than going, I like it, but ask. Ben's living proof. I keep asking for features and he gives.
I know people just assume that they'd be too busy, or why would they listen to me? But no, seriously, we depend upon feedback like that.
We all know it in business to think that, okay, that's not needed, or we've forgotten about that aspect. We all do it. It's very, very easy to do that. But pop your feature suggestions in. Guys, I'm going to encourage everyone who is blogging to put their blog post within the Facebook live stream or in the chat box here, so that we can see your blogs as well, so that Ben and I can follow them, so that other people joining in and watching can follow them, because it is really key that we take this opportunity that we're all blogging together to put our details in and share them with each other as well. Totally.
Get it in the chat.
Yeah, I haven't seen one come in on chat. I haven't seen one on Facebook Live yet, and I'm watching you all. I can tell who's watching. I know who you are.
Spoken. Okay.
I have.
Okay. So yeah, really, really important. Consistency is key. Find the balance that works for you. Just one hard and fast rule, really. I think we all know when it's too frequent, so it's just common sense.
You don't mean every 30 minutes?
Ideally not. 31 minutes? That's
31 minutes is okay. Guys, if you're blogging every 30 minutes, it's time to write a book.
Yeah, I'd be impressed. That's not bad going. Okay, cool. So we've spoken about some of the things we should be doing, some of the pitfalls, some of the benefits, and why we're doing Evergreen and creating these drip campaigns in the first place.
Yep.
The good news is, I'm sure this is no surprise, Missinglettr pretty much helps you do all of those things. So the consistency issue, the idea of having to schedule things into the future, we do all that for you. So before I go into a demo, I'll just describe really, really high level, from start to finish, what it is that Missinglettr does on a basic level. So you've published your blog post. We will detect that within about 20 minutes or so, and our systems and algorithms will go to work. We will run our sort of algorithms over your long form content, over that blog post. Yep. And we're looking for quotes and interesting sentences, titles. We'll recommend some hashtags based off that. If you have any images there, we'll extract those automatically as well. So no more having to sort of take them out yourself and then crop them for each social network. We'll do all of that for you. Perfect. We'll also create quote bubble, as I mentioned before, style images, which you can sort of see on that screenshot there, that green thing there. And we'll put your extracts on there, and we'll basically create a collection of marketing assets, both text form and image form, to help promote your blog post. And we'll wrap that up.
Email now.
You do, yes, you do actually, yeah. And we'll wrap that up as a full 12 months worth of content. So you literally, as a user, will literally click a button in an email that will send to you to say your campaign is ready for you to review. You'll click that link, which will send you through to Missinglettr, and you can just review the campaigns that we've created. You can cycle through different options. or just click go and say, I'm happy with that. And for the majority of people, actually, after you've mucked about with your first couple of campaigns just to get used to the whole system, pretty much just go with the recommendations that we make. It gets more intelligent as it works through your content, and we'll just click go. So key point, we create all of that for you. We schedule enough content for a full 12 months. So you can, for each blog post, just review our content, make sure you're happy, click go, and set it and forget it. Each blog post that you publish will now be promoted across your social channels, and we work with Twitter, LinkedIn, and the soon not to be around Google Plus, Facebook, of course. And we do that for you on autopilot. So what I'm going to show you in a second is what a typical campaign looks like. I'm not going to show you, unless there's any sort of requests, sort of any of the extra advanced features that you might want to do.
Guys, we've got on my YouTube channel, there is a how to set up your Missinglettr and brand it situation. So there's more stuff.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
If you want to go and have a look with it. I've done lots of stuff for you.
I'm really impressed. I should check you out. Check out your content on
there. Yeah, he should really, shouldn't he, guys? Now, for those of you who want more blogging tips as well, what I'm actually going to pop in for you. Now, for those of you who want to go and check out Missinglettr today, by all means, go and check it out. But wait until tomorrow till I get the replay up, because Ben is putting out together an amazing Black Friday offer, which is going to be huge for everyone. So we'll put the replay up tomorrow as well. But I have decided halfway through this that I am going to give you access to my, I'm going to launch one of the Black Friday deals right now here in the webinar, which is 50% off my Blogging for Business course. So if you're struggling with putting your blog post together, you're struggling with the consistency, you're struggling with the evergreen stuff, you can now take the Blogging for Business e-course before now on the 30th of November for $49. So I'm just, whatever it is, 49 something. It's half a 99. I'll pop it in the chat box for everyone. But that's going to be my little give back until we get everything started today. But Missinglettr is one of those tools that I do actually take you a little bit more in depth behind the scenes with how I set things up and brand things as well. Because, I'm a bit of a branding Nazi and a nag like that.
Cool.
So that is my offer for everyone. I've just popped the link into the live stream, and I'm popping it into the webinar now for everyone to be able to get out there. But I thought we should make a offer today, Ben, while we're live.
Hey, it would be rude not to.
It would be rude not to. Yes, it would be.
Cool. Well, that sounds great. And it doesn't get much more appropriate and tied up with or joined up with this with what we're talking about to have
what we're talking about. Yeah, exactly.
A bit of content there as well. So
want to give people something.
Cool. Okay, so let's have a quick walkthrough of the platform. So let me just see if I can share my screen again and switch over. Let's have a look.
Got it? You're on share screen, so you should just... Yep. Oh, you got to stop sharing screen now and then do it. Yep, there you go.
Is that working? Cool. Okay.
Yeah, got it.
I'm not going to go into too much depth here other than just skimming through a campaign, because really this is the primary thing that you'll be doing within Missinglettr. The rest of it is just configuring and enhancing some of the features.
It saves us so much time each week. We've got 5 different websites that put content out. We calculated Missinglettr saves us 8 hours a week.
Well, we actually, as part of the Black Friday deal, we were sort of building up some stats and trying to create some copy for our deal page, and we realised we hadn't actually in a while checked. It should really have it a bit more central. The number of clicks that Missinglettr has created, and I think something like just shy of 2 million, I think.
Oh wow!
Which is great. Which is genuine traffic that we've sent back to our customers, which is fantastic.
And better than we forgetting it.
Yes, it's better to have them than not, which is great. So yes, we are creating through the platform a huge number of clicks for our customers. So yeah, give it a go if you can. Right, cool. So what I'm going to do is not explain anything apart from the page which is going to arrive on the screen now, simply because when you sign up to Missinglettr, and as I mentioned, we will automatically detect when you publish a blog post and then automatically create a campaign and then automatically email you to say there's a campaign ready, basically meaning there's very little you need to do.
Holding your hand throughout the whole thing.
Hold your hand. You will get an email from us, and when you click the button in that email, that will send you to the screen that we're looking at now. So send it to. Oh, there's Hey Siri talking.
Siri's up late.
I know. I did tell her to go to sleep, but there we go. So that's why I'm starting off here, because this is really the first screen you would see after you've signed up and everything else, but once you click the review button in the email that we send out.
Yeah, beautiful.
So our campaign review process is broken down into 3 basic steps. Number 1, hashtags. And number 2, the actual social content that we've created for you. And then number 3 is just the final, are you sure you want to approve and activate this campaign, with a couple of options, which we'll talk about. So with the hashtags, hopefully don't need to tell you what a hashtag is. You need to decide whether you want hashtags or not in your campaigns. You can turn them off entirely across your account. You can turn them off for an individual campaign. You can even turn them off for an individual social account.
Yep.
So you might want to say, I want them for Twitter, but not for Facebook, which is probably quite common.
Probably a good thing.
Probably a good thing. And I think we have it off by default actually for Facebook anyway. So you
LinkedIn is now something, guys, hashtags are appearing more. Yep.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, we've definitely seen that.
Barbara says she's interested in the Black Friday deal. Barbara, I will pop it here in the live stream for you tomorrow. And I'll also pop it in the replay. So if anyone's registered for the webinar, the replay email will come out tomorrow morning. I will hopefully, because it'll be tomorrow, like midnight our time, for when Ben sends me the link. So I'll get it back to you. I'm not sending it to you guys at midnight. I can tell you that now. Ben can come back and put it in if he wants to, but it'll be tomorrow morning. And I'll get
sorry guys, it's just one of those quirks. We just realized as we were talking off air that actually, the deal's not quite ready yet for another 24 hours. So you'll just have to wait, unfortunately. But
and it's going to be better than what you see today, guys. So that's why I want to wait for it.
Promise you. Yeah, absolutely. Hashtags. You can also create default hashtags. So if you know that you're always talking about architecture or motoring or whatever it might be, or motoring architects, I don't know. You can create those default ones and they will appear by default there. What we're seeing here are 3 hashtags that this campaign has had created for it. So you simply review. You either like them or you don't. You either want them as part of your campaign or not. You will know your business better than any machine will. So you must think of particularly the hashtags as recommendations, because we're using sort of, big technology here to look at what we think will work well for you. The next step is really where the real sort of depth comes into play. So take a judgment on whether you like this or not. You can move them around. You can delete them if you want. You can add custom ones to your liking. So do whatever you feel. We generally recommend 1 to 3 is a good balance, but 1 is too many if you just don't like hashtags. So you need to know whether or not they are to your liking or not.
And the little red lights, guys, mean how popular that hashtag is.
Yes, so we have a proprietary bit of technology that basically works out a popularity score based on things like previous number of likes and retweets and those sorts of things. It's just a guide. Don't just take it blindly. If you know that this particular hashtag resonates really, really well with your audience, use that beyond, above.
Beyond the popular ones. And just remember, the popular ones, you're still competing, so use your niche hashtags as well. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Same principle as SEO, really, and add keywords and all those sorts of things. Okay, so that's enough about hashtags. Second step.
I just wanted to show the lights. I like the lights.
I know. I often I forget parts. So you can keep me honest. So this is now the content part. So when I say content, I'm talking about the actual social content that we're going to be sending out. So if we think about a tweet going out, that will typically be a bit of text, so the tweet itself, and then an optional image. So if you were manually creating that yourself in your Twitter client, you would create the text, as I said, and then some image or an image optionally to go with it. And that's basically all we're asking you to review here. It's the same principle. Here's a bit of text, here's an image. And you don't have to have an image, but you, as you know, on other things, you do have to have text. So we look at the first day here, and I'll explain the days in a second, but we look at this first day here, and what we can see here is the text that we've suggested, and then the image that we're going to pair with that. So before I go into what we can do with that and how we can review it, just a quick reminder, this is a single campaign for a single blog post. It's going to last for 12 months, and it's going to be made up of 9 social posts spread out over that 12-month period. And by default, they start off slightly more condensed, and then the gaps get a little bit longer or larger as the time goes on. So we're going to send something out on day 0. So today, if you were to approve today, day 3, so there's a couple of days gaps in there, day 7, now 5-day gaps, day 14, 30, 90, all the way down to 365. And so you can see the gaps get a little bit larger there. For the pro users, you can actually completely customize this. I won't show you because it's too much depth at this stage, but you can, say I want 50 posts to go out over the first 2 years instead of the 9 over 12 months. And you can
have
change
to play with frequency. That. Off I go.
And the frequency as well. So you might want to have it completely even. So you might want 1 a month, or you might want to have it slow initially, but then speed up at the end. So you can decide what you want, but this is a good balance of a default. If you're not sure, this is a great one to just start with. It's the default. You don't need to muck about with anything. And it will just, it's a good balance to be using. And so, as I said, this section here is looking at day 0. So this is one post. So we're going to make a look at the text here, and we're going to make a decision. Are we happy with that? And if we're not, or if we're just curious, we can cycle through by clicking this arrow here. We can cycle through, see if we're happy with different quotes. These are all extracted directly from your blog post. So this is your writing. So hopefully if you've written it, or one of your team members, you can immediately trust it. We're not throwing in content that we're not trying to reword things for you. We will create, there are templates. So you might have things like here where it says hot off the press, and then we'll put the title of the blog post in there, and you can customize those later on if you wanted to. But beyond that, it is your content. So you should be able to trust everything that's in there. You're just picking the best content that you feel is the most punchiest and everything else. So cycle through those, make sure you're happy. And then we come to the image. How do you like the image that we've suggested? And this image here is an image we've extracted from your blog post. So again, it's your content. But you might want to use one of our pre-generated bubbles. So by clicking the use bubble button, does what it says in the tin, you get a speech bubble style image here. Now this is text, but it is actually an image. So just remember, this is being generated as a social optimized image that will be look gorgeous on each of the social platforms, and it's using a quote from the blog post itself. And the branding here is, in this case, it's the author's image and their name, and then the company they're working for at the moment. This is just a Missinglettr demo account. But it might be, you might want to put your company logo in there. You might not want to put the person's name. So you can decide through the branding editor. And I think that was one of the videos you were talking about before, Linda, that you have, to show you what you can really do, because you can drag things around, you can change the colors, you can make the background translucent and put a photo in the background. You can do a whole bunch of things to really create that branded experience for you. So it will, as we were talking about before, feels joined up, which is really powerful. You can create multiple themes as well. So you can cycle through different themes here just to keep your campaigns looking fresh. So it's not just one style going out all the time, that your audience starts seeing a bit of variation, which can be quite powerful. And just like with the text, with the quotes where we can cycle through them, we can do the same with our quotes in the image as well. So we can cycle through the quotes that will be used in this speech bubble, and we're looking for the combination that we think works well. Again, the majority, once they've mucked about with the first couple of campaigns, will come to this the third time and go, yeah, perfect, okay, great. And they'll go on to the second post and they'll just approve it. But certainly the first couple of times, muck about with it, flick through, see what's around the corner, see what you like, get a sense as to what it is we're suggesting. Definitely. And if you don't want an image at all, if you just wanted to go out as a single tweet or Facebook post, just click just text. And then this particular post, this day 0 post, will go out just to that account as text. So that's pretty much it. Now you can edit, you can do a whole bunch of things. So you can edit the text and manually override it, both for the text part as well as the image part, which is quite clever. So you've got full control. If you published a blog post with a typo and now we've pulled through that typo, you can edit that typo, so you're not locked in or anything like that at all. Now,
Ben, just the traffic lights at the side with the Facebook stuff.
Yes.
Into your own Facebook text, guys.
Yes. So yes, we have to play nice in the Facebook ecosystem.
World.
Yes, exactly. So if you have connected one of your Facebook accounts, and we work with pages and groups, you will need to do a slightly different process here. So what we've shown you here is pretty much for all the other accounts. When there's Facebook, you will get this little red icon showing that it needs your attention. So we click on there, click edit, and you'll see that it's got the same suggested content, but you actually need to pop it into the box manually. So you'll click copy and then paste.
It's so easy.
So it is an extra few seconds, but it is just seconds. And as I say, once the campaign is approved, it is done. So you don't need to, it is on autopilot for the next 12 months. Now we are working closely with Facebook, and we're in constant communication with them. And so we will, we are always looking for ways to just further refine. But as I'm sure you can appreciate, always erring on the side of caution. We want you guys to be seen by Facebook in the right way, as we want us to be seen in the right way as well.
And it's happening with every tool. It's not just
this one. Exactly. Yeah. So just bear that in mind with Facebook. You can, I won't show you this now, and I'll just mention that you can customize per social account. So even though this is what's going to go out on day 0, you might want a slightly different message going out to Twitter, a slightly different one going out to Facebook. You can do that if you want. If you don't override per social account, what you're basically reviewing here will go out to all of them. So you can think of it as the default. So again, if you don't know that you need it, just work in the way I have, and it's only there if you need it as extra functionality. So that's kind of what you would do, and you would just rinse and repeat. So go to day 3. Are you happy with the image, with the text? In this case, let's assume yes. And we're just going to just make sure we're happy with all of these items here. Now, just for the sake of brevity here, I'm going to uncheck Facebook. I'm just going to say I'm not going to be sending out to Facebook for this one, just so I don't have to approve manually these ones, just so we can keep it nice and slick for the video. So I'm now going to click through to the final page, and this is really where we just, well, very, very basic. We just make a final decision on the start date and an optional end date. Thanks to Linda. Yeah. Even though you might have evergreen content, it might be evergreen to a point. So it might be 15th of December, it's perfectly relevant, but the 16th of December, it's suddenly not relevant at all now.
We could be talking about Black Friday sales and they don't exist.
Exactly, yeah.
So, it's about making sure the content is relevant, or it could be, it's Christmas only content. So totally. You only want it going out for the month of December.
Totally. And as I said, you can create customized campaign lengths and schedules, but you don't want to have to be thinking about, this is a 2-week campaign, but I think it's like just on 1 day less than 2 weeks, or you don't want to be thinking about those details. So
and look, for us, it was
whatever the hard date is, that date.
Yep.
Exactly. Choose it there. And it's going to be, even if we have content still to send, we will make sure it's not sent after that date, which is really, really powerful. Choose a start date. And then final option is, do you want to connect it to Medium? This is a bit in the weeds here, but it's worth mentioning since it's on the screen here. If you don't know what Medium is, it's basically a blogging platform that sort of small magazine format, I suppose. It's a great discovery engine to discover other writers out there, and therefore for other people to discover you as well if you are on there. It's a free platform to use. And if you connect your Medium account, we will, when you activate a campaign, we will republish the original blog post, so the long form blog post, onto your Medium account, as well as doing all the social stuff that we've just been talking about. And it doesn't muck about with SEO. You still get the SEO authority tied back to your
credit
thing. You get the credit, and the discoverability, and it's just getting it in front of an additional audience, which for some blog posts might do nothing, for others it might do a huge amount. So it's worth doing for the sake of clicking a button.
Exactly.
So definitely worth doing. Cool. So that's basically it. You click go, and you can literally forget about it. You can get to writing your next blog post. We will now market that for the next 12 months for you, and that's it.
How good is that? Nice and easy. Ben, thanks for joining us again and showing us. If anyone's got any questions, please put them into the chat box or put them into the Facebook live stream if you're watching replay. I will pop back and Ben will pop back over the next couple of days, and just keep an eye on that one and answer any questions that you may have. While we're talking, waiting for questions, just in case any pop through, I want to wrap up with what's happening next within the business skills section. On Thursday this week, we have a goal setting webinar with Clive that you can join in. So if you head to business.com.au/skills, you'll see all the upcoming webinars. And we've got a few that I'm about to hopefully get in there today as well. And then on next Tuesday, on the 27th, we're being joined by Cameron Marsden, who is Australia's only debt prevention specialist, who is going to teach you how to prevent debt within your business. So rather than trying to be collecting all the outstanding invoices at this time of year, which quite happens to service providers, he's going to look at how to bulletproof your business and how we can actually stop getting into that situation of going, oh my gosh, I need my accounts paid. So by all means, come and join that. We've got Megan joining us from Meet Edgar very early in December, and we've got the boys from Thinkific, Rob and Patty are both coming back from Thinkific to talk to us about course creation and new features that they have as well, and how we can, go that little bit step further and, building our courses and getting our courses out there. So that is the wrap up of webinars that we will have for the rest of 2018. I can't believe I'm saying the rest of 2018, Ben. It's a bit scary.
Not much longer left.
Not much longer left. We will be back with skills webinars in February. We are taking January as a month of rest in this office and not doing everything at a manic pace, which is hopefully how we can get. I know. It's not the manic pace. But, guys, by all means, join us for the skills webinars. If you wanted to catch up, if you're watching this on replay, you want to catch up on some others, then there are more skills webinars that you can go back to, most probably including Ben and my first one, in the skills webinar replay library on the business website. So thank you for joining us, Ben. It's been great.
Hey, pleasure. Always.
Happy Black Friday sales.
Yes. Hi to everyone. Happy Black Friday.
Okay, good. Right, and Cyber Monday.
Cool.
You'd fit Cyber Monday as well, I gather.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah, being in both of them. So, guys, welcome back. And if you do have a Black Friday or a Cyber Monday deal, head to the business group and add it to the dedicated thread that you'll find in our announcements area so that we can put all those savings together in one spot for our members and community. Thanks for joining us, Ben. Welcome.
Cool, pleasure. Back. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. And we will see you all again this time next week. Well, actually, 11 o'clock next week. Bye.